Want more Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Starting at $3 a month, get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat room, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today. Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC, coming at you with a commitment. Here we go, previewing it earlier this week. We knew this was going to be a busy week for the Gators on the recruiting trail, and it starts right here with some good news and a commitment from cornerback Jakeem Jackson. We'll get into what he brings to the table for the Gators, the storyline of his commitment a bit too with the Osceola trio. We'll get into that just a bit too. But good news right here on this Thursday, July 28th, as we've circled this date for a little bit because of these three guys committing today, and Florida does get one out of Osceola with cornerback Jakeem Jackson. So lots to look forward to right here on the recruiting front all week long right here on Gators Breakdown. So you guys know we'll have it all covered. Before we get there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really helps us out here on YouTube. Make sure you got those notifications turned on because it's going to, or should be, good. I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, of course, but should be a busy week or busy few days, busy end of the week right here on Gators Breakdown. So make sure you subscribe, turn those notifications on so you know when there's an episode of Gators Breakdown out there. Leave a comment. All these commitments rolling in right here with Jakeem Jackson right now. But no, leave those comments. Let me know what you think about this commitment right here for the Gators. Check us out at the home of Gators Breakdown, news4jax.com/Gators Breakdown. If you're out there on the podcast version, go leave us a review. Go give us 5 stars right there on iTunes. It really helps us out. And then on Gators Breakdown Plus, I'm going to plug it there too. Of course, guys, remember, if you join between now and August 19th, you get a chance to win 2 tickets to Florida versus Utah, but also a very, very informative chat with linebacker Derek Wingo. He joined Gators Breakdown Plus members on the Discord Wednesday night and really gave a lot of good insight on the program, the linebacker room, himself as well. Really, really good interview there with Derek Wingo. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to join Gators Breakdown Plus. So, all right, Gator Nation, here we go. Let's go. We got to commit, and it is cornerback Jakeem Jackson, a 4-star on the 24/7 Sports Composite, a 4-star on the On3 Consensus as well. He is a cornerback from Kissimmee, Osceola High School, of course, right there in the Orlando area, 6'1", 180 pounds. And if we go to the 24/7 Sports Composite, he is the 168th overall prospect in the country, the 19th ranked cornerback in the country, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. If we go to On3 Consensus, he's a 4-star there as well, of course, 178th overall, the 21st ranked cornerback in the country. So there you go. Good look at Jakeem Jackson, the 4-star cornerback right there on both services. So if we go to 24/7 Sports, Andrew Ivins offers this scouting report: a pass catcher turned pass defender that's just starting to figure things out on the defensive side of the ball. He has the length everyone wants these days with a thin, wiry frame that's over 6 feet. Tested in the upper percentile spring before senior season, clocking at a 4.5 40-yard dash, added even more context to his speed profile when he went on a wind-aided 10.9 in the 100-meter dash a few weeks later. Didn't get a ton of snaps on defense as a junior after starting season off working primarily with the wide receivers, but ended up totaling 3 interceptions in 4 games, is rather quick to read and diagnose a play. Ultra competitive in the air and understands how to put himself in position to make a play at the catch point. aggressive with hand checks, and isn't afraid to tug or pull at a jersey. Has shown he can press/jam at the line of scrimmage, but technique needs some work. Must also eventually add some functional strength in hopes of not getting overpowered by college-sized skill players. Doesn't exactly shy away from contact, but could always get a little more involved in run support, especially if he lines up on the boundary side of the field. Offensive highlights will have some talent evaluators thinking that he should be utilized as a wideout on Saturdays. But rare combination of long limbs and verified speed make him one of the more promising defensive back prospects in the state of Florida for the 2023 cycle. Will need time to develop, but traits are there to emerge as a starting cornerback for a top 25 program. NFL upside. There you go. Really good scouting report from Jakeem Jackson there. And look, they mentioned the size, of course, and that is a Corey Raymond size profile for Jakeem Jackson right there. When you look at over 6 foot, like they said, 6 foot, 180, ideal frame size right there. So, and if you go and look at that analysis and you go look at Jackson's total profile, you can see on the offensive side of the ball, you can see the offensive side of him on the defensive side of him. Plays the ball well, thinks it's his when it's in the air. I love that when you have a receiver that also plays defense, whether they make that transition or whether they are playing it in high school. A lot of them do it, of course, on both sides of the ball. They're playing both sides of the ball. But what I like about it is it doesn't matter what side of the ball he's on. When the ball is in the air, he thinks it's his. I love that about guys who play both sides. And that's not to say, there's a pure cornerback out there that doesn't play wide receiver, doesn't think that way as well. But I do think if you go watch his highlights, that's his mindset. He thinks he's playing offense on defense. That ball's in the air. Hey, no, I'm going to play the ball like I'm a receiver. So, yeah, you do go back, watch those highlights. As that analysis said, he can make plays in press or off the wide receiver as well. But played some smart plays in those highlights. You definitely get to see his reaction time. Interesting, with very little playing time, that he shows those instincts and rated already pretty highly for it. Scouting report does a good job of showing those weaknesses, but with more time, I think, and more training, says that not a lot of experience there at defensive back, and already rated a top 200 prospect there at cornerback. So more time in training, those things should come around. I mean, they already see it. That athletic profile is there. The size is there. He probably would be rated higher had he played DB more. We'll get to see a lot more of it this fall. So with that said, maybe even a higher rise in the rankings once people get to see him more in a game setting, playing more cornerback. So good pickup there for the Gators with Jakeem Jackson. Really, really like that pickup. Really like it. And you can definitely see early on the size profile right there that Corey Raymond likes. And you add him now to a defensive back class with the already committed 4-star Sharif Denson, 213th ranked player overall, and Aaron Gates, 321st player ranked overall. And then, I'm not breaking any news here, not putting anything out there that really isn't out there as a big thought already. You have Denson in the class. You have Gates in the class. Now add the expected commitment later this week of safety Jordan Castell, 202nd ranked overall prospect. So these DBs, Denson, Castell, now Jackson, all right there in that 200 range. Maybe a certain Ohio State flip is on the way. Dijon Johnson, not hiding anything there anymore. Known about it for over a week now, that it was likely. Looks like it's coming about sometime this week with Friday Night Lights coming up. Everything going along there seems to be the plan. We'll say there's never for sure in recruiting. I think we've kind of learned that this cycle. I've kind of always went along that way when thinking about it, but looking very good there for Dijon Johnson to flip from Ohio State to Florida, a top 100 player. And then hopefully down the road, Cormani McClain, the number 3 overall player in the country. So really good look at defensive back and what Florida has and what is to come. Would be a great haul. But defensive, with with Corey Raymond leading the charge, Patrick Toney in there as well, it'd be a good haul. Get McLean. He's a must-add here, of course. It'd be a good haul regardless without him, but man, you add him to that group already, man, good haul regardless, but it takes it to another level. And it's time for Florida to start stacking talent where you can, and this looks to be the first opportunity, one of the first opportunities with this new staff, with this position group. It started off last cycle. Go to the last class. Additions of Devin Moore, who right now is probably one of the most mentioned players out there as an early contributor and one that is turning heads already. Kamari Wilson, he was the 44th ranked prospect in the last class. And I think he fits in there a bit. But man, building a good early nucleus is this staff with the defensive backfield. It can get even better. As I said, maybe, we're looking at Castell coming up soon, hopefully. Dijon Johnson, and then down the road, got to add Cormani McLean to it as well. If we've been over it. We know the storylines there. That is one just in-state number 3 overall. You got Corey Raymond on staff. That's one you got to go get. Got to go get that one. So also on this July 28th, one reason we have circled this date a bit because we knew the Osceola trio was going to be making their decisions today. As long as nothing changed, we've seen a lot of these set dates change. But also Derek LeBlanc, John Walker, both those guys defensive linemen. It was a bad, those two there, you would have loved to see Florida go 0-for-3 today. Or 3-for-3, not 0-for-3. Duh. You would have loved to see Florida go 3-for-3 with that trio. Get Jackson in the fold. Really like that. But LeBlanc, Walker end up choosing to go elsewhere. We kind of went and looked at it. Derek LeBlanc, Oklahoma, was very expected. That's been expected for a while now. I know there was trying to create some drama earlier in the week, but we kind of knew that. And then John Walker, it did seem to be, as it was winding down, a pretty equal battle between Ohio State, Florida, and UCF. And lo and behold, a little bit of a surprise to some out there. Mama wants him close to home, stays local, goes to UCF. Bit of a surprise. UCF over Florida. UCF over Ohio State. So I know we wanted July 28th. We circled it. There were at times Florida felt good for LeBlanc. At times Florida felt good for John Walker. And then Walker really, man, right there in the middle of that defensive line. That's a position we want to see, pick up a bit. And missed, one big target right there. One we'd love to get. Plenty more targets there. But we've went through, last few weeks, saw a post up the defensive line and all the targets there. And there's some good options. But now, one off the board out there has to start. Maybe looking at that position. Let's see. Let me see if I can go back. See if I still have that graphic. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Defensive line. This was, before, but LeBlanc, gone, Falk, gone, Walker, gone. So where's it go next? Hardy, Norman, Hall, James. These are some old rankings, but some of the names right there. But those are the guys, to start looking for. Kelby Collins, add him to the list now, honestly, as well. Thought to be Bama in my mind. Florida might be in it a little bit more. Maybe we'll learn some more this week as far as that one goes. But, yep, starting to have to, check some of these names off now. But really looking more so in the middle that defensive tackle spot. All right, so, where do we go next? Where do we go next? The 28th we have circled, but also some more announcements on the way. If you listened earlier this week to Gators Breakdown, we laid it all out, these 3 dates, the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. We're going to be big for the Gators, so be on the lookout. Aiden Mazzell, the wide receiver, top 70-ish wide receiver now. A big boost in the rankings this week. Mazzell would be tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Thursday, on the 28th, Mazzell is going to announce on the 29th. I expect Florida to be the pick there. And then Jordan Castell, the safety, on Saturday. Expect Florida to be the pick right there as well. So those are the scheduled commits, ones I feel pretty good about at this moment. I think most of us out there do as well. But as I said, kind of have to start maybe looking outside the box. Those are the guys who have set dates. Can these guys, with a lot of recruits on campus, a lot of commits on campus, can there be some surprise commitments along the way? Andy Jean, another wide receiver, comes to mind. Will Norman, just talked about defensive line. He comes to mind. If Kelby Collins is on campus, does he get wrapped up in it? Like I said, hard for me to detach Bama for him, being from the state of Alabama, but we'll see where that one goes. Cameron James, fast riser. They're defensive end role. Love to get him in the fold as well. Can he get caught up in all this hoopla? So there's just some names to look out for, maybe even more out there that I'm not including right here. As I said, there's a reason they would be called a surprise. So if we start looking for some other names out there, just be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Dijon Johnson, cornerback from Ohio State, be on flip alert out there for the Gators. So where does this put Florida with the commitment of Jakeem Jackson? Add him to the class right now. Florida will be ranked 17th. Let's break down the class a little bit. 11 4 stars, only 2 3 stars in the class. 13 commits, 11 4 stars, and 2 3 stars. 4 players in the top 200. And Jackson is the 3rd highest player in the class after wide receiver Eugene Wilson and edge rusher TJ Searcy. Of the 13 commits, you can't help but notice 11 are from the state of Florida. Big focus there, and it looks like it's paying off right now, getting that in-state. Now, the next step, of course, we'll keep saying this, won't beat the horse to death, but now just got to see the top in-state Florida recruits commit to Florida. Hopefully that's coming, as we said. Just laid out some names for you. Should be starting to feel pretty good about some of those. But where we stand right now with Jackson in the class, 13 commits, 11 from the state of Florida, 4 in the top 200, led by Eugene Wilson, TJ Searcy, and now Jakeem Jackson. So good stuff there. Always happy and excited when the Gators get a commit. Looking forward to Jackson being coached by Corey Raymond there, and good to get one out of that Osceola trio right there. Couldn't strike out there. Could not strike out there. And then we'll see what happens down the road. Maybe they're flip candidates down the road as well. Not saying they are, but, got to keep that in the back of our mind a little bit. So some good stuff there. Good stuff coming up, as long as everything kind of goes as planned. Friday Night Lights coming up. Get to see some young 24, 25 recruits out there camping a bit. And we'll see. Is there any surprises? Any surprises coming along the way too? And I guess I'll kind of maybe go toward the next step as well. Like, I won't really do episodes like this when 24 and 25 kids commit. I won't single them out like I do here. We'll come back around on those guys a bit. There's so much time. Don't get me wrong. I'll be absolutely excited if there's a high elite. It doesn't matter what position it is, but one of those 24, 25 commits or recruits commit to Florida, I will mention it. It'll be mentioned in an episode where we cover recruiting or something like that. But don't get the full treatment like the current class does here. That's just so much time in between that. Look, there's a lot of time between the current class and December and February. But, like I said, I'll definitely cover 24, 25 commits, let you know who committed, all that stuff. But, there's so much time there. Not going to go do deep dives into those guys. But if they're from Jacksonville, and a little more insight on those guys. But that's just draw the line somewhere. But here's to hopefully you get to hear my voice a lot coming up in the next few days. Let's put it that way. I'm ready for it. I hope you're ready for it. Should be a good few days right here for the Gators on the recruiting trail. So that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for listening to this episode of Gators Breakdown.